This is another lowish budget sci-fi movie, and it's set in a world where some people have special abilities. And as the news montage in the beginning tells us, these people have been around for decades. However, tensions are high between them and regular people, and not everything is fine and dandy. And you know what, I'm usually not a huge fan of exposition, but in this case, that little intro sequence was a pretty effective way of setting it all up. Telling the audience what's going on, what's been going on, and how the situation has evolved over the years. And just what this world is like, and what the relationship between the normies and the specials are like. So I definitely didn't mind that, and it gave the movie a bit more context than if it had just jumped right into it. But yeah, the story here follows this one particular guy with some powers, and how he gets wrapped up in a situation he probably shouldn't get involved in. And the movie as a whole has themes of discrimination, of being persecuted for being different, drug addiction, crime, doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. So there's actually quite a lot going on beneath the surface here, although I wouldn't exactly say it's a particularly deep movie that tackles these subjects in any sort of serious manner. But hey, at least those themes are there, and it tried to make it a bit less shallow than it could have been. However, overall this is a rather straightforward movie, there's nothing too complex going on here. I mean, there are a few layers to it, so it's not overly simplistic or anything. And I do think the story is well structured and it works perfectly well. I will also say that it looks pretty good, and I think the direction and the editing was very well handled. And those things combined sort of worked as the backbone of this whole project. And it's honestly what made this work and carried the movie, because the rest of it, well, it's just so-so, acceptable but definitely not anything exceptional. Like the special effects, they were decent and they probably did what they could with the budget they had. But they definitely weren't spectacular or anything that I would find acceptable in a massive blockbuster. But for a movie like this, they did the job perfectly well and weren't distractingly bad. Which I guess brings me to the dialogue writing, and that was okay too, but not great by any means. And that leaves me with the acting, and well, I gotta say, I wasn't exactly impressed by the guy playing the main character. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's outright bad, but he probably was the worst of the bunch. Because I personally liked most of the supporting actors and their performances. This guy, however, Robbie Amell, well, he's just not a very charismatic screen presence in my opinion. And he didn't show a whole lot of range and is mostly stuck with this one expression on his face. And I just feel like he didn't elevate the rather mediocre source material, which I think a great performance could have done, because it's decent, it's not terrible writing. And to prove my point, we have all these supporting characters that I think did just that. They took something rather mundane and made it just a tiny bit better. But it's not like he ruined the movie or anything either. And as I said, I don't think he's awful, he's just a bit meh. And as a whole, I would call this a pretty well-rounded and well-executed little crime thriller, I guess. And a mostly solid little sci-fi romp that works in more ways than it doesn't. It was perfectly watchable, and I think the story and the filmmaking worked well enough to carry the movie. However, would I recommend this? Well, if you're a fan of these kind of smallish sci-fi movies, sure. Otherwise, probably not. I don't think it's gonna blow anyone away, to be honest. So, you know, maybe give this one a peek, or don't. After all, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, because I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.